welcome back to my little film and TV channel. And today, yes, we're going over to the BBC, but a slight change. We don't do this very often, but we're going over to Cbbc, yeah, children's BBC. So we're going to have a look at one of their series that has caused a little bit of, with the BBC adult dramas. This has caused a lot of marmite between people watching it, the public and the critics. And pretty much a 50-50 split on scores, but we'll see in a minute. Not perhaps a little bit more favourable when you look at what people are generally thinking on this one. We're going to have a look at something called Dodger, D-O-D-G-E-R, Dodger. It's been 10 episodes weekly from the 6th of February. Actually finishes on the 10th of April. So you can actually watch this on iPlayer, which is what I've done over 2 or 3 weeks, actually. I didn't binge watch this one. I was sort of watching bits and pieces. It's not a great binge watch, this, for an adult anyway. It might, I say, for adult with kids, perhaps okay, but it's certainly not a binge watch, just for an adult to watch. And just because it's Cbbc doesn't mean it doesn't appeal to adults. Look at Horrible Histories, for instance. I love Horrible Histories, so that's how it is. It's a kids' family drama adventure. Stars Billy Jenkins, Christopher Eccleston, Lucy Montgomery, and a plethora of other actors as well. And of course, as the name implies, it follows the exploits of the infamous pickpocket, the Artful Dodger, of course, and Fagan's gang as they find ingenious ways to survive the grim and exploitative conditions of early Victorian London in the 1830s. Yes, even Prince Albert, Victoria make appearances, which is quite nice, and certain chief of police, etc. So there are links to reality, sort of links to reality. Just having a look. We've got nothing from Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic or anything like that for this British series at the moment. But if you look at Internet Movie Database, Joe Public, you and me, the people watching it on TV, watching it weekly or binge watching it, whichever way they do it. 255 scores have been left so far. This is as at the 11th of April 2022. And it's only averaging a pretty paltry 4.6 out of 10. I think that's a little bit harsh for this series, in all fairness. And if you take out the 10 out of 10s and the 1 out of 10s, which is probably an even split anyway, you're left with 102 people who rated it between 6 and 9, and just 51 people, so half that amount, who rated it between 2 and 5. So overall, as you'd expect, 2/3 and a third, about 67%. I call it positivity, so that's good, and I think that's more nearer perhaps the mark than the 4.6 out of 10, which is the current average. I mean, my thoughts on this, as I said, it is another BBC series, this time a Cbbc series. It's split opinions, but I think people have to not be too critical. A lot of people criticise it appear to adults, so certainly not the kids it's aimed at as well. But in all fairness, as a Cbbc offering, it's okay, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a little bit of money spent, considering it's the BBC, with the sets, etc. And obviously the actors, the senior actors, if you like, in it. I'm not sure the humour quite works all the time, even for younger watchers. It's a bit slapstick, a bit pantomime at times, which is fair enough. But I think Cbbc, depending on what age group they're looking for, it perhaps could have done a little bit more grown up for kids anyway. But it is a series you can watch with kids and grandkids, of course, ideally. And as you watch it, it's quite a long, each episode's quite long. I don't know how they split it on the BBC, whether they actually split it into a couple of compartments. I'm not 100% sure. As I said, I watched it on iPlayer, but they are quite long episodes, about 45, 50 minutes. So, you can, if you watch it with the kids and the grandkids, there's plenty of time to chat about things that are happening on screen. When perhaps it does get a little bit bland at times, which it does. It's not all action, all funny, all humour, all drama on the screen. And it does actually improve when it first kicks off, perhaps because you get to know the characters and the actors a little bit more as it goes on, as any sort of series like this. But I think the actual storylines actually improve slightly as the thing moves along as well. Still a bit silly at times, but hey, it's a children's thing. And then within the 10 episodes, there are some okay storylines, quite quirky, but again, it's a little bit hit and miss as well on the storylines, where some of them are a little bit bland, in all fairness. Some of the acting talent, as you'd expect, it's Cbbc. Certainly, even the older actors, not just the kids, but it's not great, it's not fantastic, but I'm sure younger watchers are not going to be too bothered about the acting talent on show. as a grown-up, and I am a grown-up just about, well, certainly in age, perhaps not in my mind, I did get bored at times, as I said, but I think sitting with a kid watching it, I think it's very watchable for the reasons I've outlined above about where you can chat about certain things. It's not aimed at adults in the same way as, say, Horrible Histories appeals to adults. And I thought it could have been a little bit better just with a little few tweaks here and there. It could have made a lot more people happier and appealed to a wider audience. But for what it is, it's no big problem. Okay, not the best Cbbc offering effort by a long way. I bought the Dodger book on the basis of watching this series. I'm a big Terry Pratchett fan. I read all his Discworld books and listened to all his Discworld books. I either read or listened, depending on the book and what I was doing at the time. So I was a big Terry Pratchett fan, and I'm actually reading the book now based on it. And if you expect some sort of connection with the book, there isn't really. Not. I'm only a very small way through the Dodger book, but there's no, at this point in time, apart from the name, apart from the Artful Dodger, there's no real links with the Terry Pratchett version that I can see. Say it might change as I get further into the book, but I've not read that much of it. So, but if you're hoping for links and if you'll enjoy the Dodger book, that this is more of the same, it certainly doesn't appear that way to me at the moment. But this let's get back to the actual series itself. For family viewing, this is definitely very watchable. Even if the only thing it succeeds in making the kids do is brush the teeth. That's you'll understand what I mean if you watch the series. But obviously, even if it accomplishes that, it's done a good job. So I am going to give it my watchable score. I am going to give it what I think is a fair score for a fair series. As I said, a couple of tweaks, could have been a little bit better, but I will give it 6 out of 10, which is my watchable score. If you've been watching this, guys, or you watched it, or you read the book and you've got comments to say, please let me know. It'd be great to hear from you. Anyway, until we meet again, all I ask is please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.